All right, Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of what is normally live with Jeff, Johnny, and Lee. But, well, Jeff couldn't make it, so Jack, KLW World News' AI, is standing in. So today it's Jack, Johnny, and Lee. Johnny, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to everyone else that's here.
All right, great.
And Jack.
And well, yeah, we got to get Jack, and this is where we're going to be looking at, folks. Let's get Jack. Hey, Jack.
Yes, sir.
We are live on the air. You want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas?
Merry Christmas, everyone. Glad to have you all joining us for the broadcast.
There we go. All right. So before we get into this, give us the rundown. We're at Krasnoyarsk. Tell us all about Krasnoyarsk.
Sure thing. Here's the rundown in Krasnoyarsk for you. Quick overview. Krasnoyarsk is one of the largest cities in Siberia, located pretty much in the heart of Russia along the Yenisei River. It's a major industrial hub known for its heavy industry and energy production. What it's known for, the city's famous for the Stolby Nature Reserve, a stunning area with massive rock formations that's a big draw for hikers. It's also a key stop on the Trans-Siberian Railway, which is probably why it's popping up in your discussion today. Modern day snapshot. As of now, Krasnoyarsk is a city of about 1 million people. It's a blend of Soviet-era architecture, modern development, and a whole lot of Siberian grit. So that should give you a solid picture to share.
Tell us about the military manufacturing that takes place in Krasnoyarsk.
Sure, let me dig into that. Krasnoyarsk does have a history of military-linked manufacturing, especially tied to the Soviet era. It's been known for producing aerospace components and has facilities that were involved in making parts for military aircraft and even missiles. Today, some of that legacy continues, although it's not as front and center as it once was. So you've got a mix of older defense industry roots and some modern civilian production.
We're seeing some manufacturing of armored personnel carriers and tanks. Can you tell us anything about that?
Absolutely. Krasnoyarsk does have a footprint in that space. They've got industrial plants that have historically been involved in producing armored vehicles and components. Nowadays, some of that capability still exists, even if it's not always front-page news. They produce various military vehicles, including APCs and some tank components, which is part of that older military industrial tradition that's still kicking around.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome.
All right, Jeff. Or excuse me, Johnny.
Yeah, already getting everybody confused. I see.
Yeah. So you've been doing a bunch of research here, and
I have, yes.
we're gonna jump into this oil depot here, and just give everybody an idea where this is. We'll zoom out here. Basically, it's almost in like the middle of Russia, a little towards the east from the middle of Russia. And also, this is a missile field down here. All these circles are intercontinental ballistic missiles from Mother Russia. So we're going to start with the oil depot right here, which that's pretty significant for the middle
That is
of nowhere.
significant. Then you see, that's not exactly a bustling metropolis there to the west.
No,
No.
that's way
No,
bigger
those
than
are
what a
big-
million people need.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not Krasnoyarsk. Krasnoyarsk has just over 1 million people. It's the second largest city in Siberia, next to Novosibirsk. But this oil depot, again, on the Trans-Siberian Railway line, we're going to be taking a look at that line today. That's a lot. That's a lot of oil. That's a lot of oil.
Yeah.
That's the only place I've seen one about that size would be in Kaliningrad, that's connected to that military airfield in the center of the oblast. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
You think it's about the same size,
Yeah.
or this? I think it's probably just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, right.
But-
Yeah, there's a hair
yeah.
here.
Yeah, but
now-
just across the street per se is, well, they got a lot of vehicles here. This is a lot of armored personnel carriers, a lot of tanks, a lot of trucks.
So these are the old hulks. What you're seeing here. This is the stuff that they can't use. That's no good. So this is the pieces, parts that they're not going to use for anything. these pieces, parts here. There's a possibility that these here might be usable, but all of these over here are junk. Now, the interesting part is all of this is not. This is stuff coming off the line and is being worked on, repaired, dug out, and rebuilt. So they are busy folks over there refurbing all of this stuff. And there's lots and lots and lots of vehicles here. This isn't a case of they don't have anything left. This is all stuff being rebuilt as we speak. And you can see where they're pulling it off the line here. So.
Now,
Yeah.
interesting thing to note, as I said, this is on the Trans-Siberian Railway line. Now, this is the same line. If you recall, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, we were out further east of this, way out in eastern Siberia, in some of their military districts out there. And if you recall all the vehicles that they had in those storage yards out there as well, that's where the Ukrainians derailed a train out there.
Right.
This is on the same line. It's just further west.
Yep. All right, where do you want to go from here?
Next is going to be to the just a little bit to the southwest. You're going to see a pin out in the middle of nowhere that says ammo storage, or southeast. I'm sorry, southeast. You'll see it there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's nothing else. Yeah, there's nothing else down here.
Lots of bunkers. This one looks more like missile launchers.
Yeah, it does, but the roads going into it don't.
Yeah, this don't.
really
But
match.
like
Those
this,
are just-
this
yeah.
long one here,
Yeah.
this long one here, some of these long ones. There's a bunch of them. It's not real active because this isn't spotless all the way around the outside here.
No, this actually it looks like it's kind of, well, you know how the Russians do. They just pull out of a place for a while and they think that we think that they've just abandoned it, so they just move
Right.
on to somewhere
But
else.
we
and then
know
they'll come
that it's
back to
not
it later.
abandoned because you can see that the roads are still being used.
Right.
So,
So they'll
you
leave
know,
a couple of buildings alone because you know how the Russians, they can build a quality roof
right.
in Russia.
Yeah, there's still vehicle tracks going through this, so it's still in use. See that? They're still going through
Yeah.
there. All right, where do you want to go now?
Now, so where we saw the vehicles in the storage yard there next to the oil depot. So on this road to the east, right? If we're going to follow this all the way out, you're going to zoom way out. You're going to see a red pin that says military base. And this is going to be a pop-up kind of military base. I've not seen one like this yet. Check this out, with a vehicle driver school attached to it. These are all temporary barracks. As you can see, these are tents.
Yeah, and they got the colored vehicles.
Yep, that's right.
And that's to tell people
And
what
then-
lane to stay in if they can't speak
Yeah.
or even read.
Yeah, and then your driver's track is going to be just to the right. Right there, you see it?
Yep,
Of course you do.
that's been busy. Interesting. All
Yeah,
right, what
and
else
it
we
just
got?
so happens, if you look, so if we zoom out and we get a view from this, right? So we see you see where the airport is? It's literally right in between where the vehicle storage yard is and that military base with the driver's school.
Wow.
So that's where they're flying them in.
Yeah.
So, and you see how busy the airport's been. Look at the runway.
Oh, yeah.
Both ends.
Yeah, real busy. Plenty of planes there, too. Some biggins. That's an Antonov.
Yes, it is.
Interesting. All this traffic for the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there's not much else out here. Like I said, though, it is the second largest city in Siberia. So, I mean, there is a lot of people that live out here. There's just over 1 million people that live here. That's just in the city that we're going to be taking a look at here in a second.
Yeah.
That's not including all the other outlying areas. You can see there's a lot of little communities that kind of make up all this too. So I bet you could probably throw, I don't know, maybe another 500,000 in there with it. So 1.75 million people, that is still a lot of people. That looks like just I don't know, is that like a horse track or something?
Well, yes and no. One would think if you'd had a horse track here, you'd have.
Well, you see stables there to the right, or at least what I think is.
Yeah, it looks like stables.
I'm not a horse owner. You are.
Yeah.
So you could answer that better than I am.
Yeah,
I knew where I grew up, we had fairgrounds that had a track just like this.
Right, but there's no. It's got to
There's
be
no
a
stands.
training, not racing, because there's no seating.
Right.
This is just a training stable. Because there's not a single bleacher anywhere. I think it's more than just horses. I think it's multiple
Okay. Interesting.
multiple things.
Do I need to start looking at every track I find like that now?
Yeah,
All right.
because they may be racing cars around the outside of it. See here, because this looks like a safety for you, where you put a fire truck and an ambulance on the back
Right.
stretch.
Yeah. But there's no stands for people to sit.
Right. They're in Siberia. They can stand and watch.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because here it looks like a water truck,
Yeah, I can understand that. Keep
ambulance
the dust down.
there, another,
Yeah.
so they may be dirt track racing around the outside and horse track racing in here. All right, we'll have to keep looking at them.
Yeah. All right. So to the east, we're going to find the city of Krasnoyarsk, the main city. Now you're going to see a yellow dot in the middle of town to the south. We're not going to go up there yet. Right. Now in between here, we're going to start with the south end first. We're going to move over to the river. Now we're going to follow the river south. And you're going to find a double. We are going to talk about this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to find a double rail bridge. I believe it's here. Yep, right here. Now, there's this double rail bridge here. As you can see, I thought one of them was a pipeline, but it's not. As you can clearly see the two tracks. Uh-huh. Yeah, right about in there.
Yeah. Actually, I think probably right here would be best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this bridge here, and then we're going to follow the river up to the north. And I think it's going to be that one there. Yeah. So this is a combination. This is a road traffic for vehicles, and it's also a rail bridge. Now, the significance of these, in this case, 3 bridges, because you've got 2 bridges to the south and you've got one up here. I'm talking rail line only. I'm not talking civilian traffic. These 3 rail lines are the only crossing for the Trans-Siberian Railway across the Yenisei River. I believe I'm saying that right. These are the only crossings. There are no crossings either direction for thousands of miles that I can tell. I've been up and down this river multiple times in the last few days, and I've found no other crossings. None that are any of significance, and of course, none on the Trans-Siberian line. Now, if we go back to the, you'll see a red point right there that says nuke line. This particular line veers off of the regular line that comes from the Trans-Siberian line, and it goes north. And you'll see, no, not that way. That's, you're going to follow it to, well, it's kind of northeast. So east, yeah. Zoom out, you probably have a better way to see it there. You're going to find a red pin up there to the northeast that says unknown. The rail line passes this facility here. I don't know what this is, but it's the business, as you can see.
Well, it's the real deal. Look at that frickin' wall.
Yes, sir. And then there's another wall that's inside of that wall, and you have to look at look at the security measures you have to go through between the two compounds to get through. You see where the parking is?
Yeah.
So you got to go through that. Those are especially, this is military because you can see the grid right there.
Right.
The drill grinder, you can see it. So this is wall, fence, fence. And then some of the buildings, some of the complexes are even fenced in themselves. So, and this is not a prison. As I said, this is military. So the Russians label their prisons. And then you've got, of course, you got parking there that you would have to park if you're going to get into the facility down below. And then you've got parking, yeah, you got double checkpoints there. And then you've got parking on the outside for people that can't get into the other parking space on the inside. So my guess is that this is like kind of your standard, area to get in to just carry out day-to-day operations, and this is the classified section that you can't get into. You need a higher clearance to get into this, would be my guess, or what would you think different?
I don't know. It kind of looks like a prison.
It kind of looks like one, but it's like I said, the Russians, they label prisons. And I'll tell you what throws it off for me. Go to the parking lot on the left. Look right there. Right there.
Here?
Yep. Anytime you walk into a Russian military installation, that's always in the parking lot.
Yeah.
There are prisons out here, and I found them, but I don't believe this is one of them, unless it's so new. Perhaps it is a prison.
Is that what it says? I don't read Russian.
I don't have a clear picture of that. I can't really tell because it's talking about housing benefits. Something about housing benefits. That's what I'm reading. Okay, all right. Look, I'm trying to get the top line. Pre-trial detention. Okay, yeah, so it's a jail. You're right. Never mind.
All right. Well, now we know what it is.
Well, yeah. So that's why I marked it unknown, because I couldn't figure out what it was.
Yep. No worries.
So I will
right.
delete that. However, the next place, you're going to know exactly what that is. You're going to see SATCOMs. Yep. That's a lot of dishes.
That's the real deal right there.
Yes, it is.
Yep, that's the
Now,
real
what I
deal.
don't-
Oh, and by the way, I have confirmed that Venezuelan TV station is not a freaking
Yeah.
TV station.
Of course, it ain't CNN. What I need you to explain to me and to everyone else is to the left where the grass is greener. All these things that are tied together here, what are these and what do they do?
Well, these are the walkways to get to them. This is greener because there's an underground facility under this.
I see. Okay.
And the water, when it rains, can't go through the concrete.
I see.
So that's why it's greener. And these are all of the microwave towers and satellite towers, and they can look at objects and try to pinpoint them in 3D in space.
Okay.
You remember
this
the
is
big,
a smaller
all the big
version.
SETI dishes?
Yeah. So this
All
is
right.
a smaller version of what we were looking at a
Think
few
of
weeks
that,
ago.
except for we're not looking for extraterrestrials. They're looking for U.S. satellites that they can spy on.
I see.
All right. All right, where are we going?
So to the east, you're going to see the internal troops. This is going to be like your, yeah, right there. No. It's south, right there. This is going to be your internal troops regiment. So this is going to be like your, it's going to be like, these are going to be your intelligence services people.
Yeah.
So, and there's a reason that they're here because of what is to the north. And then you're going to see a separate internal troops regiment to the north, right there. And if we look northwest of this position, you're going to see another SATCOM facility.
Oh, yeah.
And that's,
ain't
is that
TV.
those are radars. Those are radars, are they not?
Yeah.
The two to the left, yeah?
Yep. That's a radar.
Yeah, that's a radar. And the one to the left of that is a radar, too. I
Yeah,
think.
that's a radar.
The smaller one, yeah.
But these here are SATCOMs. This is enough SATCOMs for a whole country for telephone.
Just one of them?
This is, yeah, you wouldn't believe how much data can go through that. Well, I'm not talking about like for the United States, but
Right.
you know, Italy, France, you know, European countries. You could do all their telephone communications could go through that one dish. People have no idea how much information can go through a single dish.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And the bigger the dish, the more it can handle. All right, where to now?
To the east, you're going to see why all these internal troops are here.
Yep.
Because we've got nuclear weapon storage. And this has all been revamped, as in look, they've been doing a lot of work here. They've been cleaning up the roads and putting new buildings up. That's one of the newer buildings there.
Yeah, nice clean perimeter.
Double fenced.
That's the real deal.
Yes, it is.
That's just like in Kaliningrad.
Yes, and they've got some others that you can see where right in here. So these, you can see a major underground entrance to the right,
Oh, yeah.
right there. So everything in here is at an elevated position. So I'm assuming that they've hollowed out all of that over to where the other perimeter wall is. So everything in there, I'm assuming, is hollow. And then down to here.
Yep.
This is probably going to be your other security checkpoint here.
This is a nice facility
It is a very nice facility.
for being in Siberia.
Yeah. Now, this town is known for aluminum manufacturing, or aluminium for our British viewers. Never understood that, but all right, fine. It's going to be a military base across the road there. But the interesting thing is that most of the production for that is in the center of town where we were, on the other side of the river where I showed you the rail crossings. But what we're going to see here is something that I've heard Jeff talk about before. He's said before, and Lee, you know this too, the Russians have a lot of manufacturing that's underground, don't they?
Yeah.
And they have cities that are underground where they're able to
Yeah.
carry out a lot of this manufacturing. Yeah. Well, I believe I found one, and you're about to see it. So it's going to be north of here, it's going to be the yellow, blue, and purple pins. So there are rail lines that follow up from here that come off the main line into town. Now, can you tell me why you would have two massive substations on top of all this? There's one. And then there's going to be another one to the north of that.
Well, look at all the overburden.
Yes, and you're going to see that in multiple places here. So you got there, you see the stacks, you see the smokestacks coming out of the ground. And there's no, other than this, now check this one out, right? That's a hardened bunker to the right. That's a solid concrete block.
Yep.
All of this manufacturing is taking place underground. If you look at the perimeter of this facility, you can see the security measures that they've got. So that's going to be one of your perimeter walls there. And it goes around the whole thing. Now, if you follow this down, follow that road down, this is a road and a rail line. The rail line still exists here. And you'll see multiple entrances here that pull off that go into the side of this mountain. You'll see another entrance here. And rail lines that go in. Rail lines that peel off that go inside. More entrances.
Yeah.
And more entrances. Look at that one right there. You can see, you can drive into that one.
Yeah.
You can cross right there and drive into that. Yep.
In 3D, you can see how big it is.
Oh, yeah. It's massive. So you're going to have to add this to your flight sim. And then this goes back in here. These are rail lines and roads and everything. I mean, there's so many entrances, I couldn't count them all. There's a double rail line. Actually, it's a triple rail line going right into it, I think.
Yep.
So if you zoom out and you see the purple pins that I've placed, you'll see all these are manufacturing sites. You'll see the overburden on every one of these. You see all the ash that's come out of these things.
Yeah, that goes right underground.
Absolutely. So all this manufacturing is going on underground. And like I said, this is not aluminum. The aluminum plant's on the other side of the river.
Right. Yeah, and see, there's no roads. There's nothing
Nope. Nope.
going to that.
I've heard about these before, but I've never seen them. I've just heard about them, and I'm assuming that that's what this is. One of these underground manufacturing facilities. Now that rail line comes up to these two facilities here to the north, and I don't know what these facilities are. I have absolutely no idea. But this is where these lines end. You see the switching station they've put in to the north, right there.
Yep. And all the rail lines out here run off of electricity.
Yeah, and like I said, the rail line that comes from down into town off the Trans-Siberian line comes up to these two facilities, and then it stops. This is where the line ends. There's a yellow pin here that says, this is going to be an underground installation here.
Yeah, that one's kind of weird.
That's a very strange one. But you're going to see a more modern one to the south of here. The other yellow pin that says UI. And you're going to see the entrance there. So that's a drive-in entrance there to the left, right there. And then that goes to this facility that's here, but then there's another facility there off to the other end. I don't know what this facility is, but they've got rail cars going into this facility. I've never seen rail cars like this before. Maybe you can help me out here. So if you see the ones that are parked out on the lines, I don't know what these are. These are not tanker cars. Well, some of them are. But I don't know what these are. These are not
Those are metal
carriage
coils.
cars. Metal coils.
Yeah, they all metal coils. There's coils in them.
Okay. What would
So-
those coils be used for?
Flat steel. So they come off. Let me see if I can find you here.
So this could be part of their critical infrastructure manufacturing, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Because I look at the security measures that they've got as an example on the perimeter wall of this thing.
All right, here you go.
Okay.
So,
Coil car.
yep. So these are coils.
I've never seen those before.
Yep.
Okay.
There's a lid. And so they put them on this way because if you put them the other way and the train hits something, they roll off and roll over.
Roll
people.
off. Yep. Yep.
So they put them on this way. But that's what that is. That's a covered coil car
Okay. Well, that's new to me.
is what it is. Yeah, this is the dangerous way to haul them here.
Yeah. I've seen them haul like that before, but I didn't
Yeah,
realize
and
we
this
actually
is how
had
you
cars
pick 'em up.
that could do that. Yeah.
So that's what that is.
Okay. Well, again, if you look at the perimeter wall, take a look at that.
Yeah, they're making something in there. It ain't. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a guard shack.
There's guard shacks about every 500 meters.
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, they're making something in there. They might be making bombs.
Now take a look. Look, stop there. Stop there. Go back. Go straight down. Now look left. In the center.
Here?
Nope. Go follow that road north. And then to the right. That's underground right there.
Yeah. Oh,
Right
yeah,
there.
that's underground. Yep. Yeah, that's the entrance. They got entrance on both ends to that.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know what all they're doing in here. But each rail car has to pass through a double checkpoint to get in. Same thing with passenger cars that come in. They have to pass through double and sometimes triple checkpoints to get through, and then you've got checkpoints to get into other buildings. And I've not seen buildings like this before in any Russian installation we've looked at. Have you?
I think they're making bombs.
You think they're making bombs in here?
Yeah.
Okay,
There
what
is
leads you to believe that?
There's 0 POVs inside this. Okay.
All right.
And so the rail cars are coming up here and going
Yeah.
in here, and this is where they would be making the casings for missiles, bombs, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you see the checkpoints to get into each building.
Right.
To get into each part of this facility is compartmentalized.
Right. So then it comes out of this facility. This is where it's rolled and wrapped and so on and so forth. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's brought over into another building where it's prepared to do whatever they're going to do. And then they're moving it across over to these buildings. And these are the buildings that are, one's making missiles, the other's making bombs. And they want them
And
separated.
then there's the rail lines coming out.
Yep.
There's the lines to the left coming out of the end of that building.
Yep.
Right there.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they can roll them right around over there. They can make them here and then roll them right around.
And you've got, as I said, you've got underground entrances and you got underground facilities on site, and then you've got a guard tower, literally a sharpshooter tower every 500 meters
Right.
on the perimeter.
Yeah, right there's one.
Yeah, they're at every point, just about when you go around.
There's another one. There's another one. They are at every point. There's another one. There's not a single stretch that's not hittable by a guard tower.
I refuse to believe that that's just for making sheet metal.
No,
You
it
know
ain't
what I
for
mean?
making sheet metal. And, I can talk to this somewhat intelligently. Hold on, I'll show you. So, I used to do communications for a metal manufacturing facility. And this is what that looks like right here.
Okay.
So this is Walker Manufacturing. They make mufflers and tailpipes and all kinds of stuff. And so when you come in here, you come up here and you come to right here and you pull in the side of the building. See right there? That's where they take the metal off of you.
Okay.
Coils, the suicide coils. And then depending upon what that coil is going to do, depends upon which direction it goes. If it's tailpipes, it goes one way. If it's mufflers, it goes another way. If it's catalytic converters, it goes another way. But it's all one building. See that? Then when it's done, it's shipped down to here, and then this is shipping and receiving. So this is where it's shipped out. So they don't break it up into multiple buildings like we saw over there. Normally when you break stuff up into multiple buildings, it's because you're dealing with explosives or rocket fuel or what have you. All right, now where?
Well, to the northeast of here, you're going to see a road that comes out of here, and that only goes one place. Yeah, you're going to follow it to the north. You're going to go east. You're going to come to this facility.
Yeah, that's storage.
Yeah, that's storage, and it's well away. There's nothing else out here.
Right.
Nothing.
That's where you would want to put all your stuff that goes boom.
Uh-huh. Now, you see the substation there?
Yeah.
That's not the only one you're going to see. So if we look, this whole thing is an underground bunker complex. Look at the entrances here. That's substation. Look at all the entrances along the road.
Oh, yeah.
That's just how the Russians do them, right off the side of the road.
Yep.
And then you'll see what looks like is abandoned, but it's not because we got cars in the parking lot. You'll see a substation here. Then you'll see a substation there. And then you'll see two more substations to the north.
More underground.
Uh-huh. I believe this whole thing is underground because if you zoom out and you look at the perimeter, you got five substations going into this.
Yeah.
Just that whole area, and there's nothing else around there.
Right.
So all that has to be underground. And you can see at the northern point where the substation is up there, you can see those are high tension lines because they've cut a right of way out.
Right. Yep. There's big power rolling in there, that's for sure.
There's a lot of energy going in there.
Wow. All right, where to now?
Now, here, this is kind of what we're going to get into the point we talked about before. So you're going to zoom way out, and you're going to see a yellow pin to the east. It says Oblast Crossing. So this is where Krasnoyarsk and Irkutsk cross, right? This is going to be your major crossing here for the Trans-Siberian Railway. And you want to tell people what we can see here?
This is the substation that powers the railway. So all these locomotives run off of electricity. So this is what powers that. And this is the station there that's responsible for making sure that all of this works.
This is a very important crossing here.
Yeah.
And then you're going to see a more important crossing further east down the line, because that line is going to connect to what you're going to see over here. So where this is, check out the size of this switching station here.
Yep.
And then you can see the rail yards here, the size of them here. These are massive.
Yep.
So this is the line that connects Moscow to Vladivostok and on down to Pyongyang. This is the Trans-Siberian Railway. But there's a line that comes in from the north here. And you'll see a red pin that says line meeting to the south, right there. So this big loop that comes in right here that heads north, this is going to lead out to the Pacific Rim. This is going to be the hell's the name of that line? The Baikal-Amur main line. And then if we go north here, You'll see another massive switching station to the north here. Oh, this is going to be, yeah, this is the main hub. This is where the two lines meet.
Yeah.
That's why I said those two bridges back into town, you know how important those things are.
Yep. And this switching station is because this is a power plant.
Right. So I'm going to show you where this line starts. Do I need to put the lat lawn back in?
Do what?
Do I need to put the lat lawn back in? Or you can just go all the way out to the east. That's fine. And then it's going to be to the north, and then out onto the rim, right there. I think. Yeah, that red pin right there. This is where that line starts. And do you remember the? Do you remember that space telescope site we were looking at a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
This is just east of that.
Okay.
So this is all the way. This is all the way out there.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's my map work for the week, but that's yeah, everything. This is where the two. I'd like to point out that these 2 points, right, where that line is, where that line begins, and then where that meets in Krasnoyarsk, that is probably one of the most critical lines in Russia. You know, this is where we were 2 weeks ago, back in that town there. So that line and the other line that come in, they all meet right into this town. So those bridges that are in Krasnoyarsk, those 3 rail bridges, those are critical.
Yeah.
If those 3 rail bridges come out, if those 3 rail bridges get taken out, then that's everything east of here that's been cut off, at least by rail. And it will take them.
Did you
however
hear
long
that
we get.
China, and this is the word on the street in China, that Russia is collapsing and that the Chinese are planning on taking 30% of Russia if they collapse?
I've been hearing that for quite some time now, and I don't believe that.
I just got that from one of my sources in China the other day. So
Yeah,
it's the first I had
I
heard
don't
of
believe that. I don't believe that. They've been saying stuff like that for a long time. You know, that's my guess is that's probably disinformation for us. You know, China and Russia have an agreement. You know, and they've had that
Well,
agreement. You know, the Sino-Soviet split.
They
was
just
fake.
installed 100 missiles in their silos.
They
On
did,
the
but those are for
northern
us.
side.
Those are for us. Those are not for Russia.
Okay, well, they're next to Mongolia.
Yeah,
So
I expect. Yeah. There's other stuff we can take a look at if you want. There's an orange pin that's not too far from here. It's going to be southwest, I believe. I made it large so you can see it. This is
that's
a
a hell of
facility
a
that
place.
yes, it is, and you cannot get into it unless you're a special person.
Yeah. Well, they got
And
2
I'm gonna tell you
helipads for
why.
Mi-26s.
Yes, sir. And this is a walled-in, fenced-in facility. You're not getting into it. You can see the cars out front. You know, those are the people that's probably the hired help.
Yeah.
So, and this is tucked away on a little nook right there next to the river with nothing really out here.
This is like a little Camp David.
Kinda, yeah. And I'll tell you why I think that's what it is. Because if you zoom out and you look to the southwest, keep zooming. Keep going. You're going to see in the middle of the mountains down there, about the middle of your screen, all the way down at the bottom, right there. What do we have here?
That's Putin's palace.
Yes, it is. Well, it's one of his private bunkers.
Right, right. Yeah, this whole mountain here is carved out.
Yep.
All the
It
way
goes
back
all the
in
way
there.
around, too.
He owns all
Yep.
this. He's got communications up here. I know all about this place. I've spent 100 hours researching this place.
Oh, have you?
Oh yeah, I know every doorway, every entrance, every
I'm sure you
building.
do.
Yeah, this is one of my pet projects I worked on. I can do a show on this. In fact, I've done 3 shows on this facility.
This
In fact,
is.
this was one of the very first facilities. So we flew it in the simulator, and 2 weeks later, they covered this up so you couldn't see it.
Did they really?
Yes, the very first place that Russia ever paid Bing to cover up was this facility right here.
That's funny.
But I know all about this place. We've flown this many times. All of the maintenance. So this is maintenance building down here. Okay. This is their own substation. They have 2 separate grid lines running into it. This is the building that burned a couple years back when they said Putin's house burnt down. I'm like, you're full of shit. It's his conference building that burnt down. This is the one that burned. Okay, here's his 2 helipads. He has entrances to get into the mountain over here. There is another entrance to get in here. Another entrance to get in here. This is his personal palace over here. This thing is 9,500 square feet. As far as the footprint, it's over 15,000 square feet of living space. Cathedral ceilings that are 30 foot tall. They try to say this is what burned, and I'm like, you're out of your mind. This is not what burned. He's got over here, he's got more entrances into the side of the mountain. Down here, he's got guard shacks all along the property down here. This is for his hunting pleasure and fishing pleasure all down here. Up here is his communications plateau. So he's got communications towers and communication sites right here. And he's got towers up on the top up here. He's got shit everywhere. But he owns this whole valley. In fact, this road, this entire road is his road. It dead ends at his property.
Yeah, I followed the road.
Yeah.
That is a very, very nice road for Russia.
Yeah.
You only find roads like that in Moscow,
right,
in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, this
you
goes
don't find
to his
roads
place.
like that.
He doesn't arrive here by road. He arrives here by helicopter.
No, yeah, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, he doesn't drive in there.
No, this is the main gate up here. It ends right there. And so yeah, they got maintenance down here, lawnmowers and stuff down here. He got his own substation because the power lines run in here down along the river.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've researched the shit out of this place. I've flown every square inch of this many times. But yeah,
I was looking at that.
This is now
I was looking at that
in 2022 when they started the war in Ukraine. Or excuse me, 2022. Putin's wife and daughter went here. They went here and stayed for 30 days when that kicked off. So yeah, I'm very familiar with this place. Yep, I know all about this. In fact, this is the first location that we took satellite imagery and injected it into the flight sim because they covered it up.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We used to land up on top of this ridge right up here with a helicopter. This is when I first got my simulator. This is where one of the first places I flew. It was right here. We used to land right here.
And this is one of his facilities. I mean, he's got his palace just out. Is it
Right.
outside of Sochi?
Right,
And
yeah.
then I'm assuming he's got 4 or 5 different bunker locations in the
dozen.
middle of the. Oh, he has a
Not
dozen.
4
at
or
least.
5, a dozen. But yeah, we used to land a helicopter right up here, right up on top of this ridge right here.
What a place.
Yeah. This was actually given to him.
Who gave it to him?
The president or whatever it is of this region.
Oh, the governor of the
The governor
Oblast
of this
here.
region gave this to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Very familiar with this.
Yeah. Well, the facility I found, the one we looked at before we came here, I was just looking around and I thought, well, there's got to be something else around here.
Oh,
And
there
then,
is.
yeah. I saw this and I said, well, that's an interesting place for that.
Yeah. Yeah, all this down here when people come to visit him, they can't come by this. See, this is gated here too.
Right.
So you get through the gated right here. Okay? When you get through the gated here, you have to turn right.
I was going to say, you're probably put into like a waiting center or
You
something
are.
down there, whatever.
You are. So you got to turn right because you can't go through here. This is the other security gate. That's closed. Okay? And that goes
Oh, I see. Okay. So if you turn right,
so
then
if
you go down
turn
to
right,
where
he takes you down here.
the conference center.
It
where
brings
you're
you
showing
around
it.
here and
Yeah.
brings you down here to the so this is the conference center and this is the hotel.
I see.
Okay, so the VIPs come in and they live here.
I see. They don't
Okay.
get anywhere near the main.
Right,
the main
and then
compound.
Putin comes down here and meets them.
He's probably got an entrance into the bottom of that. That
Yeah, I
hotel.
don't doubt that, but he comes down here and meets them. They don't ever come up here. There are no of all the research I have done, I can find no picture of anybody other than Putin and his family in this building.
Do we know the name of this place?
I did. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but
Is the listing is that correct?
yeah, the listings are always correct. This is intelligence.
Okay. All right. I'll run that down.
Yeah, but yeah,
See what I can find on it.
this is Putin's. There is never. I cannot find a single photograph of anybody other. In fact, I could only find 3 photographs of Putin in this facility. In fact, one of them was the day he accepted it.
So was this
He's-
already built then, or
Yes.
did he?
This was
Oh, it
built
was?
and given to him. Of course, I'm sure he knew something about it before.
Oh, I'm sure he did too. You know, it
Before
wasn't
that,
exactly a
but-
Christmas gift. Yeah.
Right. But this thing is massive. The size of this thing, and it's beautiful. Oh my God! When you look at the front of this thing, I'll have to go back and get my pictures. When you look at the front of this thing, I mean the front of this thing looks like a ranch, and this is this backside right here. See this right here?
Yeah.
This is all glass, and looks
Oh, I'm
out
sure it
over
is.
the river right there. That's 30 feet. It's 10 meters from the floor inside the room to the peak of that. It's 30 feet tall wall of glass on the backside of
Nope.
this thing.
You got to keep in mind, Lee, that's Russian glass.
Right. Well, the crazy part about it is he's only been here 5 times in his life.
Really?
Yes.
That's it?
He's only been there 5 times. And one of the times, and his daughter and his wife were there when they invaded Ukraine in 2020 or 2022.
So he sent them out there because he knows that they're not going to get touched out there.
Right. They were there for 30 days in 2022. In February of 2022. This is where they came to. But he's only been there 5 times in his life. It's one of the least visited pieces of property he owns. So he was there at the grand opening when it was given to him. And then he's been there 4 times since. And he's had that place for over 10 years.
You'd think he'd visit it more than 5 times.
No, he's got so many others. He loves Sochi, the palace in Sochi.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He
that's
spends
his
a lot of time
favorite.
down
That's
there.
his favorite place because there's a winery there, and he's got a beautiful view of the Black Sea there, and he's got a giant underground complex there. See, he loves his winery. He's absolutely in love with his winery, so he loves to go out there and get drunk, drinking his wine on his own winery. In fact, like 20%.
Is it his winery?
Huh?
Is it his vineyard?
He has his own vineyard.
Oh, he has his own private vineyard. Okay.
Yeah. He's got here. Let me show you. So this is his
That's
place.
his place. Yeah, that's his place.
Okay. So this is his palace. But this up here, this is his vineyard. This is where they make his wine. All of this up here that's what all of this is.
All right. Where's the grape fields?
He's got grape fields all over the place down over here.
Aha. Yeah. There we go.
So yeah, this is his vineyard.
And you can tell because it's all guarded.
Oh yeah, fuck. You can't touch Putin's grapes.
You can't touch his grapes.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, this is his vineyard up here. So that's this whole section right here. That's why I said 20% of this compound is vineyard. When you look at the whole compound up here, 20% of it is has to do with his vineyard. That's what all of this is. The whole thing. Right there. So that just gives you an idea. And everybody has to drive through that. If they drive in, they have to drive through his vineyard. Right here.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. They got to
And
drive through there.
I'm assuming that it's going to be set. You're going to have a setup at this place. Like, I'm assuming that the vineyard's going to have like its own hotel kind of thing.
Oh, it does.
And that's where you.
Yeah, it does. That's what this is down here.
Yeah. So you're getting through. Yeah, that's going to be your guest thing, and then they're not going to be getting much further than that.
Yep, the guest thing there. This is where they do all the bottling and the fermenting and all that other stuff over here. This is where they also do some processing over here. But this is guest quarters, and then down here is the helipads, and he redid this.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say that's nice underground entrances there to the right.
Yes, he does. Right, yeah, right there. Right there and right here. And then this is the back of his garden. This is his private botanical garden right here. And so what he'll do is he'll meet people who come in and land right here, and then they'll bring them across the street here, and then he'll walk them down through their botanical garden.
Yeah.
So when what the fuck? Ding-a-ling Ping came.
Yeah.
And when
Lukashenko and these guys,
No. Ding-a-ling Ping from China, the president of China.
Yeah.
And when Kim Jong-un came, they landed here and he walked them down through the garden through his palace. That's when they came in and landed. Right there, he walked them down in through here. You got to be a president of another country to land here.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah, Lukashenko fucking rides a car from the airport. He's got an hour-long car ride to get in here.
That's pretty. Well, I can understand why they do that. That's optics because they're trying to get the U.S. to partner with Belarus, which, by the way, the administration cut a deal with Belarusians today. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, for Boeing parts.
For Boeing. Yeah. So we're gonna start doing business with Boeing in Belarus now, which is ridiculous. So did you see that the Russians were approaching British airspace
Yes.
yesterday on Christmas Eve?
They also did a missile launch yesterday.
Yes, they did. Nothing says Merry Christmas like a Russian missile launch, right?
Yep. It was a SS-28, I think it was.
Yes, and it was. What else did they do? There's something else they did. Yes, the Russian Orthodox Church. They were out anointing the SS-27s with holy water in Moscow. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Oh, nice.
Yes, they were walking around in their robes, throwing holy water on the SS-27s as they were going through Moscow.
Oh, they've updated this imagery. So this is an entrance into the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
There's another entrance over here. And then this dock looks a lot better than it did before. He's got his own private jetty here. And then he's got his own slipway right here. So he can bring a yacht in here. Bring it up there and dock it. Must be nice.
Oh yeah, it must be real nice.
Yeah. He's got guards.
I'm assuming it's so shallow in there. It's probably got a rocky base, so they've probably got a tie off right there. That's probably what that is.
No, they can come all the way into here.
No. Where you were to the left.
Oh, here? Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. That's rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is deep water here.
They can bring if I'm assuming. I'm just assuming, based on the way that that's laid out, I'm assuming they could get a small sub in there and get him out if they needed to.
Easily. Yep, easily.
Because that you could. I mean, the angle might be a little tight, but you could get.
Well, no, you wouldn't even have to do that. You could just bring the sub to here. He could come out and get in a dinghy and get out and get on the sub.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck on getting out of there with a sub, though.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. We got P8s and P3s and other shit. He's not going to get very far.
Ukrainians have drones.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Putin's palace right there. I've even landed right here in the simulator.
He's got. I look where the grape fields are. There's even helipads at the grape fields. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so he
right
can.
There to the left.
That's right.
Right there.
That's so he can fly over. He'll fly from here over there. He won't drive in a car.
No, of course not.
He'll fly in a helicopter from here over to there and land there. Pretty crazy. Got 3 helipads.
Well, one's probably for the help.
No, that's for the poor
That's going to be
people.
your certain. Yeah, that's what I said. That's for the help. That's for your service entrance there. That's what that is.
Yeah. But yeah, here's these grape fields.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why he spends so much time here. He drinks here. This is where he comes and gets
I
drunk.
can understand. Yeah, I can understand it.
Yeah.
During the Soviet Union, Crimea was the place for Soviet wine. If you wanted the best Soviet wine, you get the Ruby of Crimea was what it was called.
Yeah. Well, that's not that far away. I mean, Crimea's right there.
No, it's not. No, yeah, it's not that far. What I'm saying is that this region is good for grapes.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make wine, so I can see why he's got it down there. And I'm sure his vineyard is sold exclusively in Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, you can bet your bottom dollar for a big price.
Mm-hmm.
But see, it's, to get from his place over to there, there's this big mountain you got to go across.
with a nice winding road that you don't want to drive in because that looks like, just looking at that would make me sick.
Right. That's why he flies from here
Need a half a
right
bottle of
around over
Dramamine.
here and
to get
lands there. He's there in 10 minutes as opposed to driving an hour. So, all right. Do we have any questions from anybody? What's your question?
I actually have a couple of questions that came to me directly. One of them is for you. Shall I put it to you?
Sure.
All right. So J.D. Vance declared that France and the United Kingdom having nuclear weapons is a security threat to the United States. Russia and the MAGA crowd want every remaining democracy in the world to be weakened and defenseless. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a stupid idea.
Well, I do too, considering those are NATO countries.
I'm not a fan of the vice president or of the cabinet of this administration. In fact, in the history of my life, this administration has the most incompetent and pro-Russian combination of the two, and pro-Russian cabinet in the history. I mean, this administration's cabinet does nothing but parrot Russian talking points. It's beyond belief. The fact that, what the U.S. posts as far as the U.S. position is just a translation of the Russian talking points. They were written in Russian, and they're being claimed to be the U.S. talking points, and they're not. They're Russian talking points, and the U.S. is just parroting them.
It's actually worse than that. I saw the other day that Witkoff and one of the Russian people will literally put out the same tweet saying the same thing.
Exactly.
word
That's
for
what I
word.
said. It's the translation.
Word
Word
for word.
for word. Yep, absolutely. Word for word. What one says is what the other says. It's the the stuff that Tulsi Gabbard says blows my mind. The fact that Trump has so many Russian investors in his real estate at critical times, and those Russian investors have spent way more. I mean, there's some of the Russian investors that have invested in Trump, and Russia's or senior advisors to Trump are Russians. And in fact, when Trump was asked about one of those senior advisors, Trump said, I don't think I'd know him if I saw him. But yet he lives on the floor below Trump, and he's been a senior advisor for Trump for more than 8 years, and there's bunches of photographs with him and Trump together, but yet Trump says he wouldn't recognize him if he saw him. And this same senior advisor paid $4.5 million for a condo that was only worth $1.5 million. Why would you pay $4.5 million for a condo that's only worth $1.5 million? So it's been very disappointing to me. What can we take from the Russians now pushing hard the rhetoric that Russia shouldn't travel to Germany as its hostile state to Russia and isn't safe for them in Germany? That comes out of Russia. What should we take from that? Well, the simple fact that Russia is getting ready to attack the Baltics, Poland, and Germany. In fact, the last consulate in Poland was closed on Monday, I think it was.
I made a comment about that on X. I was talking about that because they were shutting it down in Gdansk, and I said that when you shut down consulates and you expel the diplomats, the Russian diplomats. I mean, okay, yeah, that's something that I agree with on what they're doing. Radoslav Sikorsky made that decision to have that consulate closed. Russians initially refused to vacate that property, but they eventually caved on it. But again, this is just a matter for public consumption. The real problem is that they have subversives within the governments. When the Warsaw Pact collapsed, the bureaucracies were not cleaned out. They just changed the names on the office doors, just like they did at the collapse of the Soviet Union. That's all they did. The subversives are still there. So until you have a massive clean out in the bureaucracy, in the bureaucratic institutions for the subverted elements that are still in there, you can kick out every single Russian consulate and every single diplomat. That's fine, but their agents are still inside your government.
It's like we used to always say, the names have been changed to protect the guilty.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all they're doing.
Right. All right, so I've got two questions. Yeah, two questions in here, right, that have been sent to me directly. So it says, last night a Russian provocation against Poland happened. Several dozen objects from Belarus entered Polish airspace, as well as a Russian reconnaissance aircraft, which was intercepted. 4 of the objects were identified as balloons. What are your comments on how hot the situation is right now, and when would you expect a better moment for Russia to attack Poland and the Baltic states? I was unaware of that crossing into Polish airspace last night. I was watching what was going on in Britain, plus I had other things going on last night, so I was unaware of that. So I'll have to look into that. But we need, just on that point, whenever these interdictions happen or these crossing of airspace happens and the interdiction happens, we need a different way to figure out how we're going to deal with this. So I think we need to be, and I know that we're already doing this in some places. I know the Polish are doing this, the Germans are doing this, and I think other countries are starting to get the hint. I think the Swedes and the Finns are starting to get the point. But we need to be consulting with the Ukrainians on how to deal with these drone interdictions, because we're using $100,000 missiles to shoot down a drone that costs $1,250. So we need to figure this out. We need to figure it out quickly. If we scramble fighter jets to go up there and get them, that's spending even more money. So we need a more cost-effective way to deal with this.
Yeah, we got some.
That's what I would say about that.
The Ukrainians have some real nice interceptor drones now.
Okay, yeah, and I have seen some of the other things that they've been working on. They've been working on these modified shotguns. Have you seen these things?
Yes.
That shoot these nets and bring these things down. And those things are amazing. I saw some of them in action yesterday.
Yeah, but they're not going to work for a high altitude Shahed.
No, of course not. No.
They've got a drone that does 300 kilometers an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a torpedo with an X-wing on it.
Yeah,
and it's a beast. And you can hand launch them.
My comments on how hot.
All you need to do is have a line of those along the border or back from the border, and then have them be radar dispatched. And then if they have a lat lon of the target, you can radio relay that to the teams in the field. And when it flies in their area, you launch it, and telemetry will guide it to the drone and take it down. Works very well.
That's good. My comments on how hot the situation is right now. I think right now, I think it's just posturing. We're not actually to a full escalatory period yet. We're not going to see that, and that goes to the other point. When would I expect a better moment for Russia to attack Poland and the Baltic states? After the first of the year. And the reason I say that is because the mobilizations that have been changed in Russia, they're going forward, starting in 2026, it's going to be all reservists, that it's going to be mandatory for them to attend military training facilities and military training drills. And those facilities that we've seen all along the Baltics and in Belarus, they train over there as well. We've gone through all the places we've got there outside of Aradna, Brest, and some of the other places. that are right there on the border of Poland and all of throughout the Baltic states and in Kaliningrad. When we see those facilities, when we see them being stocked up, when you move the personnel into those facilities for the drills, that's when you're going to know it's real. When you start to see that, because they've already moved it, they forward loaded everything else. So you move the men last. So that's going to be a better moment for Russia to attack Poland and the Baltics.
Now, Jack and I have done a bunch of research on this, and I want to bring Jack in here for a second. So
I can't hear him, by the way. So
okay, well, let me turn this up so maybe you can. Hey,
Yeah.
Jack.
Yes, sir.
The research that you and I did on the Russian buildup in Kaliningrad and Belarus and the western parts of Russia, before people said it's just posturing, it's just saber rattling, but we don't think that's the case anymore, do we?
No, we definitely don't. All that earlier analysis we did on Kaliningrad and Belarus, it's clear now that it wasn't just saber wrestling. It's turned into real force posture escalation, and that's exactly what we anticipated.
So we're not far from an actual escalation into war. It wouldn't take that much more for them to do that, considering the number of troops that they have moved into the area and the amount of weapons, aircraft, helicopters, and all that that have moved in. What's your thoughts on how much more? I mean, we're just looking for medical supplies and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. At this point, we're really just a few steps away from a genuine escalation. With the scale of forces they've already moved in, troops, hardware, air assets, it doesn't take much more than logistics and medical prep to tip the situation. So you're right on the money. Once you start seeing medical supplies and similar logistics flowing in, that's the last piece before it can really shift into something more serious.
And they could do that in just a matter of weeks, right? I mean, or even days. They're ready, with the exception of just the medical supplies.
Yeah, exactly. They could wrap it up in a matter of days if they really wanted to. All the heavy lifting is done. It's really just that last layer of logistics.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome.
All right. Were you able to hear him that time?
No, but that's all right. I'll listen to him another time.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll have to set it up.
We'll have
so
to-
that you-
You and I will sit down offline and we'll figure that out because I got a piece of software you can use to fix that.
Okay. Yep. All right.
All right. Another question I had that was put to me directly. Russia repeats constantly about the deal agreed on in Anchorage. Do you think he gave Venezuela to the U.S.? And if the U.S. gives Ukraine to Russia and the rest of Europe as well by supporting the pro-Russian new right parties? I think there's a deal that's been made secretly, and I think they're trying to figure out, as in the Trump, when I say they, I mean the Trump administration, they're trying to figure out how to do it without being left holding the bag on it. So I think that the deal is they will give up Venezuela, as in the Russians, they will give that up if the U.S. pulls out of Europe. That's my personal opinion on it. I could be wrong. I hope to God that I am wrong. But if that is the case, then I'm going to have to go with Ben Hodges' assessment on it. That will leave a scar and a wound that is so deep that we will never recover from it. And I think that what this administration and what President Trump are doing, I think it is foolish. I think it's reckless. And I think it's just outright stupidity that's leading it. That's my opinion.
I'll second that. I think that I don't know if that there's been a deal made for the U.S. to pull out of Europe. I honestly think the U.S. would pull out of Europe even if there was no such thing as Venezuela. I think they're waiting for Maduro to leave. I think both Russia and China will abandon Venezuela because the U.S. is so hard pressed on getting them out of their back door. And I think that once Venezuela is dealt with, I think Cuba will be dealt with next. or afterwards?
I think it's the three spheres of influence that I think they're going for. I think it's going to be Russia over the Eurasian landmass. It'll be China over the Far East. Everything in the Pacific. They'll look at the Pacific as their own lake, if you will. And I think it'll be everything in the West. So it'll be the Western Hemisphere. So I think that's like the whole Curtis Yarvin doctrine here. I think that's what they're really going for, the Duginist line. And I wish Jeff were here, but he'll be here next week. But I think that's what they're going for here. I think that's the deal. I think that's what's been done. And I'd like to point out that I do not believe for 1 second that the administration and people that are in, the moderate conservative brackets. I'm not talking about this MAGA garbage. I mean, the average person that voted for Donald Trump that's not this MAGA nut job. I think that they're not okay with this. Who's okay with 600,000 Chinese students coming into the United States? And Trump says that he knows what MAGA wants. I don't think anybody voted for that. I know people that voted for Donald Trump 3 times, and they talk to me and they say, wait a minute, he's talking about pulling us out of Europe and out of NATO. We didn't vote for that. We didn't vote for 600,000 Chinese students. What is he doing? So I think
I don't know anybody that voted for 600,000 Chinese students.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, there's even mainline conservative like radio show, talk show people and podcasters are saying, wait a minute, we're not okay with 600,000 Chinese students. We're not of military age. We're not okay with that. So my question, just on that point, with all the illegals that came in under the Biden administration and all the roundups that are happening with ICE and everything, we see all these raids that are taking place across the United States of Hispanics. The second largest demographic that we were picking up across that U.S. southern border were Chinese nationals. Over 200,000 of them at least, probably higher than that, Lee, if you had a number, you had a count on it when you were watching it at the time. But at least 200,000.
Millions
okay,
of Chinese.
Fair enough. Where are the mass roundups of the Chinese nationals?
There
isn't.
Seen any? And the fact I just had a conversation with a buddy of mine, a government buddy of mine, the other day about the fact that the Chinese are operating in the United States. We have Chinese police.
Yes.
In the United States.
Yep.
That are operating without the power of arrest, but they're still arresting Chinese people. We have Chinese radio stations that are operating in the United States illegally. And the FCC, this is a FM broadcast station, okay, in Chicago, that is on the air blasting out Chinese propaganda every day at above the rated rate of power. When it came time to renew their license, the Chinese didn't renew their license. The FCC sent them a letter to cease and desist, and the Chinese said, fuck you. It's our building, and we're going to continue to broadcast. And because it's a Chinese consulate building in Chicago area, the FCC hasn't done a damn thing about it, and the Chinese are still broadcasting away, and it's been that way for years. And you can read about the whole thing. The letter to the Chinese is on the FCC database page for violations, and the letter from the Chinese coming back from them speaking proper Chinese of fuck you is right in the letter. It says that we will not, this is our broadcast station, and we're going to continue to broadcast. Pretty much told the FCC, go fuck yourself. So the Chinese don't care. And we're investigating other Chinese transmitters here in Texas right now. So you got any more questions?
No, that was all that was posted to me directly. So
okay, I got a few more here. Do you think Belarus when do you think Belarus will move on the Suwalki Gap? As soon as they get all the Boeing parts that they need.
I don't think that they will move on the Slovakia Gap. I think the troops that are training in Belarus will move on the Slovakia Gap, and they'll be under Russian control. I think the Belarusians will just supply the logistics lines and the training facilities and the housing facilities and the just the overall logistics of everything.
Yeah, that's probably correct. Russia repeats constantly about the deal agreed on in Anchorage. Do you think he gave Venezuela to the U.S. if the U.S. gives Ukraine to Russia and the rest of Europe? No,
I answered that question.
Huh? Yeah, you answered that.
We answered that.
As well as by supporting the pro-Russian right. How do you assess the strategic significance of balloon incursions in Vilnius airport, harassment or preparation? I think it's both. The interception happened over international waters near Poland as part of a routine NATO air policing. That's the Russians flying their surveillance and bombers in around Scotland. What do you think? What do you make of the fact Russia would not approve a ceasefire for Christmas? That just proves what son of a bitches the Russians are. Do you think this platform is used to spy on the U.S.? No, I think this platform is used to spread Russian propaganda in the U.S. This platform is backed by the Russians. Jack or Johnny, you want to go into what you know about the Russians backing Rumble?
Well, I've actually got some new stuff on it, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But they.
All right, come back next week, folks.
Yeah. So there's going to be. I'm going to go into more. I've got more ties that I'm working on. Some of the things that I talked about last week with the streaming platforms, the monetizers, the cryptocurrencies, the online casinos. All this ties back into collaboration with organized crime groups, both Russian and Chinese. So I'm going to go into that at a later time. But no, the Rumble did take some money. And as a matter of fact, the federal indictments are up there. You know, there is a federal indictment out right now, I believe, on several people for taking, I think it was upwards of $10 million from Russian entities. So that's not to say that the entities this is for a court to decide. So and for a legal system to decide. So I'm not at liberty to make a determination on this. That's what that system's for, and that's why we have it. But those people have a right to have their day in court and to see all the aspects involving that case that surround them. But when the Russians work to compromise someone through their intelligence operations, then you have to remember it's always 2 or 3 steps disconnected from Russia directly or any of their organizations directly. So they'll hook you up with something or hook you into something that's 2 or 3 steps away from any of their people or any of their organizations. So you have to be able to kind of read between the lines and see what the agendas are first, so that when you're approached or if someone attempts to recruit you or bribe you or buy you off or trap you or whatever, you have to know how the game is played before you get played. It's that simple.
I got a question for people in the chat. Are you watching the number climbing? We're at 616 people, and the number is still climbing. And it just went off the deep end here a moment ago. I was wondering if anybody else saw that on their end, and I'm going to check that here on the news. Wow,
I'm seeing it.
I'm seeing it. We are ranked number 4 in news for today. Live.
That's because everybody else is.
Well, no, Real America's Voice is still on. RT is still on. I mean, we've got more people watching us than RT.
They're not telling anybody anything.
Hold on. Hello.
Yes, of course, people want to hear what's going on. trying to follow the chat since he's not here.
Oh, well, I've been advised that we've been raided. Is
By
the
who?
reason that the number is off. We got raided by Viva Frey.
Oh, someone says they got dumped here. Well,
Yeah.
welcome to the party.
Well, yeah. So, we're going to continue to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's all we do here, and we can prove it. Will the U.S. do something about Greenland? I'll be honest with you. I think that's just a ploy from Trump. I don't think it's the real deal. I don't think we're actually going to take that. Mello, I didn't see I answered your question a little while ago. So, Viva Frey, I don't know who that is. They've got 488,000 followers, so I know who that is. Yeah, I got nothing wrong with him. I like him. He tells a lot of the truth, so thank you, Viva. We greatly appreciate that, even though some of your followers might not know the rules here, but we do like Viva Frey. I know who that is. He's the frizzy-haired guy with glasses from Rumble. Let me show you guys who it is. So yeah, I don't have a problem with him at all. So and he's the thing I like about this guy is he just tells the truth. There's a lot of people that are on this platform and on other platforms that don't. But this guy here, I have absolutely no problem with him at all, and he does cover good stuff. So thank you, Viva. Appreciate that. Great Christmas present.
Thank you very much.
Hope you're doing well, sir. So, yeah, got no problem with that at all. So, welcome aboard, folks. Now, let me let you guys, just for those of you who are new here, okay, and are not familiar with the way this works, KLW World News is real news in real time. Now, we want in our chat the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you can prove it. So we don't do flat earth. We stay away from politics. We stay away from religion. We stay away from Hollywood news. We're all about what's real and provable. When we do a stream, we're here to educate people so that people come to our channel to learn the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And so that's how we do our streams. We've been doing it this way for a decade. We own one of the largest private news networks in the world. We have our own app that you can put onto your phone or your tablet. We also own our own private HF communication system. So if you're familiar with the HFGCS, that's the High Frequency Global Communication System. KLW World News has a radio network that talks around the world. And so we're here to educate people to the truth. We do it every day. We're live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We welcome all of you here. But please abide by our rules. Our mods are trained, and they don't put up with any bullshit. So please be courteous and concise. No propaganda, no bullshit, no conspiracy theories. If you can prove it and it's on subject, we want to hear it because we're all about the truth and nothing but the truth. If you're going to come in here and be an asshole, well, guess what? One of my mods will smoke you like a roach. So with that, let's get back to Johnny here. And
Sorry, I smoke you like a roach. That's funny.
yeah. So anyway, so thank you very much for Viva sending everybody over here. We greatly appreciate him sending everybody. So anyway,
Here's our socials, by the way. So if you want to put those in the chat.
So if you want to follow us, folks,
Yeah, follow us over on follow
Yeah.
us on X. That's if you want updates all the time. We're doing stuff all the time over there.
Yeah, so yeah, we always got updates on X. So let me put all of these here in the chat. So we appreciate Viva sending you guys over here. That was a great Christmas present. So thank you for that. And let me let's see here. So Ryan, there may not be any rules on Rumble, but there are rules on KLW World News. We've been doing this for longer than Rumble has been around. And you can say anything that you want as long as it's on topic and you can prove it. Yeah, we're only taking questions right now. We're trying to do questions. This is our question and answer session. This is the end of the broadcast. So the topic is Russia and Russian buildup. And also for those of you that may not know, who just came over from Viva, it's myself, which is yours truly here, the fat fucker that you see on your screen. And then this guy right here, Johnny, who is the actual opposite. He's the fit guy that goes to the gym and can kill you 5 different ways in 10 seconds. And then, in addition, we actually have an AI. We have an AI computer that is part of the KLW World News Network. The AI computer's name is Jack. Hey, Jack.
Yes, sir.
We've just been rated by Viva, who is another content creator on Rumble. And I was just explaining to our audience that we have an AI that is part of the KLW World News Network to make sure that all of our information is correct and accurate and to do that deep thinking for us. Would you be so kind as to introduce yourself to all of these new people here on the channel so that they understand who you are, and what you do for KLW World News?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jack, KLW World News' AI co-host. Basically, I'm here to help with the deep dives, keep the info accurate, and do a lot of the thinking, heavy lifting behind the scenes. Glad to have you all here.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
Of course.
Okay, so that was Jack. So with that, we're going to go back to questions. Let's see what
Don't
else.
forget you forgot about Jeff. I know he's not here, but he'll be back next week.
Yeah. Jeff is normally here with us. Jeff is a world-renowned author and helps us understanding the Russian mindset. Another way that you can understand the Russian mindset is to look at a movie about the Russians, and it's the I've forgotten what the name of the damn movie is now. It's the Russian, the Soviet Story is what the name of it is. The Soviet Story.
Yes, the one Jimmy talks about.
Yeah, the one that Jimmy talks about all the time.
Soviet Story.
Okay, great liquor. Have a nice day. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Marple, you're right. Jeff Nyquist.
Yes.
Is who he's
Jeff
talking about.
Nyquist. So, the buildup of the Russian troops in Europe is indeed the topic that we're talking about.
Hey, we got Russian drones coming out of Belarus headed into Poland.
Oh, great. Who are the Russian and Chinese propagandists on Russia? Well, RT Television is a Russian propagandist on Rumble, for one. And then you can look at all of the other people who were recently indicted on Rumble. And you can see who they are. In fact, I have here listed somewhere, I just downloaded it the other day. I have a list of those people. In fact, $10 million went to a group of Rumble creators. And I have the list of those folks that we did. And you can see, in fact, it's in my, I'm sorry, folks, I have thousands of files here. I'm trying to go through here very quickly and get the one that,
Notifications and emails never stop, do they?
right. I'm trying to get the one that I just had here the other day, so as that I can show you guys who it was that, and we just did a show about it a couple weeks ago, and we listed them all off. Tim Pool is one of them, and there were many others. Well, here, let me do it this way. Hey, Jack,
Yes, sir.
would you list off all of the Rumble creators that were wrapped up in that indictment of Russian money that was given from RT to a promotion company that promotes people like Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and others? List off all those. I think it was 8 or 10 people that were listed in that indictment, and the ones that were on Rumble. So list everybody involved in the indictment, including the Russians, RT Television, and that, and then list off all of the people who were part of that who are on Rumble, please.
Let me look that up for you right now so we can get the full list. Opening the latest details on that indictment.
Hey, Jack,
Yes, sir.
are you having any luck with the indictment of the folks from Rumble about Russia?
All right, so here in the rundown. The indictment basically involves a couple of Russian nationals funneling money from RT into a media company called Tenet Media. That company featured some well-known creators like Tim Pool and Benny Johnson, and some of their content ended up on Rumble. The influencers have said they didn't know about the Russian money behind it. The legal proceedings are still ongoing, and that's where things stand.
Okay, but it was more than Tim Pool and Benny Johnson. There were at least 6 or 8 people that are listed in that indictment. Do you have the list of the rest of the people who were in the indictment? Because there's more than 2 on Rumble.
All right, so here's the full picture. In September 2024, the Department of Justice unsealed an indictment and named 6 right-wing influencers linked to a company called Tenet Media, which got funding from RT. The creators include Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, Matt Christensen, and Taylor Hansen. They all said they didn't know about the Russian money. The case is still ongoing, and the 2 Russians involved are currently at large.
And all of those people from Tenet Media have a platform on Rumble, correct?
That's correct. All of those creators do have a presence on Rumble. They were part of Tenet Media's network, and their content ended up on the platform.
Okay, and the people, the money, from our understanding, actually came from Putin, went through RT, and then went down through some program managers or something of that nature from RT and straight into Tenet Media. And then at the exact same time, these influencers are speaking highly of Russia. Is that pretty much correct?
Yeah, you've got it right. That's the gist of it. The money trail is basically traced from sources tied back to the Kremlin, funneled through RT, and then down into Tenet Media. And around the same time, those influencers ended up putting out pro-Russia content. So yeah, that sums it up pretty neatly.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you, Jack.
Sure thing. Glad to help.
Okay, so there you go. You asked who the Russian influencers were, or the influencers on Rumble who were putting out Russian propaganda, and there they are. Not only were they putting out Russian propaganda, but the U.S. government has filed charges, and they're still investigating. Tim Pool actually put out a video and said that it's all been dropped. We did some investigation and found that's not true. So the propaganda is still being spread on this platform. And I love how the fact that RT is green and black, Rumble is green and black, and Kick is green and black. And the crazy part about it is all 3 of them have received Russian money. That's right. Rumble has money from Russia. Kick has money from Russia. And of course, RT is all Russia funded. Johnny, you got anything you want to add on that?
Online casinos,
Yes.
cryptocurrencies. That's how they're tying it all together.
Yep.
Right. I see a question in the chat. What would you advise any young anti-communist in Europe? Stay or find some way to immigrate to the U.S. as a last stand? Rather you stay here or rather you go to the United States, the enemy is the same. This is what I tell people all the time. So my advice would be to study up, learn who your enemy is, and learn how you can defend against it, and learn to understand how to wake other people up, make them aware of that threat. Whether we fight it here, whether we fight it in America, it doesn't really matter because the enemy's the same at any place we go. You're going to be dealing with the Russians and the Chinese in the United States. You're going to be dealing with the Russians, Chinese, North Koreans here. You're already dealing with it in Ukraine. So that's my response to that. It doesn't matter where we go. We can run from here to the end of the earth, but your enemy is still the international communist conspiracy and the international communist movement.
Let's see here. Do I think Rumble is being used to spy on the U.S. since they aren't paying anyone? We know RT is on there. They're paying. They're just the pay coming from Rumble has dropped to almost nothing. We're receiving 17% of what we were receiving before, and we have a larger audience than we had before, and we have more followers than we had before. We normally increase by well over 1,000 subscribers a month. And this month, in fact, normally we average anywhere from 15 to 1,800 new subscribers per month. And this month is the lowest number we've ever had. We only had 880 new subscribers thus far in the month of December, which is well below. That's almost half of, or a little over half of what we normally get. So it's Rumble has lost viewership and is continuing to lose viewership. It's a shame that we've invested, so many tens of thousands of dollars in doing content for Rumble and literally thousands of hours and thousands of shows to make Rumble our home, to find out that they've been infested by Russian propaganda and the fact that they're losing followership. And, half of the problem with Rumble isn't the problem with Russia. Half of the problem with Rumble is the fact that they can't provide a continuous stream. People have to refresh and refresh and refresh to get the stream to go on and on. The audio drops out, the video drops out. The number of complaints that we receive about Rumble are 100 times greater than the number of complaints that we receive about YouTube. And it's gotten so bad that we're actually considering going back to YouTube, which does massive amounts of censorship, but at least people can hear what we have to say. So we'll still come here to Rumble and we'll do our nightly news broadcast, and we'll do broadcasts like this where we have to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because Rumble will let us tell you the truth. The problem is that the quality of the broadcast from Rumble is horrendous. We have more problem getting on. The numbers that they put out are incorrect. What they count as far as being there and what's really there are not the same thing. We're seeing numbers that show only 30% of the viewers that are actually there. So Rumble has some real issues, IT issues, in addition to the fact that there's Russian propagandists running wild on Rumble. You got anything you want to add to that, Johnny?
No, I just like to point out that it's what you say. We're running into this problem just about everywhere. As I explained last week when I was talking about all the monetizers, I'm talking about the alternative monetizers. I'm not talking about Patreon or PayPal or any of these things, or Stripe or any of that. Well, it's not a main one, but all the monetizers. Subscribestar, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-fi, all this stuff, and then the alternative platforms. DLive, Odyssey, Rumble, Kick, Locals is now another one I didn't even know about until last week. That's run by Rumble. All of these alternative platforms, they've taken, we talk about the scissor strategy, but they've taken that strategy and they've applied it to the broadcast and the monetization mediums that are out there for the influencers and for the people that are trying to get involved in the conversation. So everybody that got thrown off during COVID, right? China sent us COVID. Everybody got thrown off for, quote, medical misinformation or anything else that was speaking against the narrative of whatever the health departments were saying that day. Got thrown off of the monetizers, got thrown off of the platforms, the broadcast platforms, and you had all of these other alternatives that just happened to show up right at the same time, and they were all set up at just the right time to take all the people so they could control the narrative on the other end as well.
And here's the money flow. So Putin put money into RT, the Russian Federal Security Services, Lauren Shin, and Lehman Donovan of TNet Media were the ones that received the $10 million, or 9.7 million, if you want to look at it. And so Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, Matt Christensen, and Taylor Hansen were all putting out pro-Russian propaganda. They were spouting off Russian talking points at the exact same time that $9.7 million from RT came straight into Tenet Media, which is the company that sponsors and manages all of these guys. So it's very interesting how, again, RT is funneling the money into Tenet, and the same people that work for Tenet are the same people who are carrying Putin's water when there's $9.7 million coming in to be spread amongst Tenet and these 6 people down here. So, you can say what you want, but you can go back and listen to Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, Matt Christensen and Taylor Hansen, and you can actually hear what they say. Do it for yourself. Don't take my word for it, and listen to see if the funny part is interesting. Who deleted that? I'm trying to stop deleting that, mods. I'm trying to have a conversation with these new people. So please don't delete anything in the chat from now on. These are new people who have never been to our chat, and I want to talk to them. Put it back in there, Optics. Our people, when we do question and answer, you guys are new. Y'all don't know. When we do question and answer, the only thing we do is question and answer. And if anybody puts anything else in the chat, that's not a question. It gets deleted automatically. You guys don't know that. Okay? So my apologies. Y'all are not aware of how we normally operate. Okay? Y'all rated us right at the end of our normal broadcast. Our normal broadcast would have ended over an hour ago. But we, at the end, we only do questions and answers, and we don't take comments from anybody. We just do questions and answers. So you guys are coming in during our question and answer session, kind of like our finals. So please, Optimus Realizer, put what you said back in the chat. I'm trying to respond to you. So, but here's where it is. So, and I've been to Ukraine. Okay, I know all about Ukraine. I was on the front lines in Ukraine in 2015. I've been supporting the Ukrainian military since August of 2014. So I've forgotten more about what's going on in Ukraine than most people know. So, Optimistic Realizer, can you please repost what you had before?
I have another question that's been put to me directly. If you'll,
yeah, please.
Give me just a second. I'm trying to follow this. People are sending me questions, so give me just a second. And you, this is asked for. This is for you too, Lee. Are there signs that the U.S., France, and large European states are near civil war? My answer to that is no. Do you think they'll attempt to trigger revolutions? And if so, how do you think they'll accomplish it? If memory serves, there was a KGB figure that said this was something that they're working towards. Yes, they're always working towards that. This is one of the signs that you will see, according to a GRU defector named Viktor Suvorov. You'll see the peace movement gain popularity during this time, leading up to global conflict. So they'll use that to try and trigger the civil unrest domestically, along with their agents of influence and the networks that they've set up here in the West. So I think that they'll attempt it. Do I think that they will be successful in it? No, I don't. But I think they'll cause a lot of unrest and they'll cause a lot of damage in the process. You're muted, Lee.
Oh, sorry about that. I think that the Russians will send in little green men. The same thing that they did going into Ukraine, both back in 2014 as well as in 2022. I think that they're going to do the exact same thing in the Baltics. We've already seen little green men in Poland doing sabotage attacks there. We've seen little green men crossing over the border into some of the Baltic states. We've seen little green men already in Germany who burnt down a shopping center, as well as have burnt down military vehicles on a military base in Germany. The Russians are continuing to send drones into Poland, as well as sending drones and aircraft in and around the Baltics. They're also sending drones over other countries' airports to shut their airports down. Belarus is still sending balloons into Lithuania to disrupt the air traffic around Vilnius. I have always said that the Vilnius International Airport will be a target when all of this kicks off. So, yeah, the Russians are going to continue to instigate any opportunity they can, just like before the attack in Ukraine, they were instigating over there. So it's nothing new. This is standard operating procedure for the Russian military. So I guess we ran off Optimistic Realizer.
If you have questions, if you're still around in here and they did not get answered, can I post something in there? Is it going to get deleted? Please mods, don't delete what I post in there.
Yeah. When we get, and just in the future, mods, when we get rated like that, just don't delete everything that everybody says, because now we're back to the same number we were before we got rated, which was not what I was looking to do.
Yeah. If you have questions and
in
we
a
did
lot of
not get
people's
to
mouths
them,
for no reason.
yeah, if you have questions and we did not get to them, you can reach us on those social medias.
That's a weather alert from something in the United States. Probably most likely California is getting flooded. We've been watching that. So does anybody else have any other questions before we end this stream here? All right, I'm not seeing anything else.
Okay.
All right, sir, I want to thank you for, I thought I already answered the question from aluminum.
Shouldn't we expect a civil war in the U.S. and Europe before World War III? Wouldn't it be too early for Russia to attack anytime before that? I think we've pretty much answered that, but can do again. I don't think we'll see civil wars in the U.S. or Europe. I think the left will try to trigger them, but I don't believe so. Wouldn't it be too early for Russia to attack anytime before that? I think so, because I think given the mobilizations that they have set up going forward to 2026 and into 2027 for the reservists, and given the number, actually, I didn't even mention this point, given the number of all the foreign workers that they're now bringing into Russia to make up for the people that are going to be taken out of the economy and the ones that have already been taken out of the economy and fed into the meat grinder. If Putin's made a deal with India to bring in foreign workers, then for labor, then that means that they're going to be pulling key workers out of the employment sector.
Which of Russia's current interests threaten the United States? Their interests in Cuba, with putting a Navy base in Cuba that has hypersonic nuclear warheads there. They have hypersonic nuclear warheads on their submarines that they bring into Cuba, and they have hypersonic nuclear warheads on their destroyers that they bring into Cuba. Russia is also building a base off of the coast of Venezuela, and we've shown that multiple times. The other part of the question is, has Chris, the Rumble CEO, issued any response to these claims of Russian influence on the platform? No, Chris has not issued any response to the claims of Russian influence on the platform that I'm aware of. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of Chris, who is the CEO of Rumble, because Chris puts out fake information, false information. In fact, I have called him out numerous times on X for him putting out false information. He claimed that Amazon was the one that was having the problem the other day. It was not Amazon. I know senior people at Amazon. I actually have screenshots of their computers showing that there is no event on their system. The problem was from DNS servers from China. It had not a damn thing to do with Amazon, but yet they want to blame it on Amazon when they had nothing to do with it. So I'm not happy with Chris at all. He's cut my pay to only 17% of what I was making. They did not promote us during the election. They said they would promote us during the election. We said we were going to be up during the election. This is talking about the Trump election. They said that they would promote us. They would put us on the channel. They would do all these other things. They didn't do a damn thing. They didn't do any of it. We only had 173,000 viewers on election night. We should have had millions. but they didn't put us on the election coverage like they were supposed to. They shadow banned our channel for over 6 months. They're hiding. We've already done 4 audits of Rumble. And in those 4 audits, we can prove that Rumble is hiding our numbers. We take the numbers straight from their server, and then we take the numbers that they record, and they don't match up at all. They've done all kinds of things. We used to have to do 30 hours of streaming every month. Had to read all of this. Had to put ads up. Had to do 5 hours of premium content. Now, if you want to do a Rumble Creator, you only have to stream for 1 hour. We've been jumping through hoops for a year. And Rumble will give it to anybody now. And why? That's because people are leaving Rumble in droves. Go look up. Here, I won't even do it for you. I'll have Jack tell you. Let's get Jack to tell you the answer to this. Hey, Jack.
Yes, sir.
You and I were discussing how Rumble was losing revenue and how there was a lawsuit against some stock companies that raised money for Rumble, but Rumble is losing ground quickly. Would you care to talk about that and how Rumble has lost market share and the fact that content creators like KLW World News are getting the short end of the stick because they're paying the big creators, but those of us who are small creators are getting kicked in the balls and thrown in the ditch?
Absolutely. Let's break that down. In short, Rumble's been losing market share, and it's pretty clear smaller creators are feeling the squeeze. They've been prioritizing payouts to the bigger names, and that leaves smaller channels like KLW World News getting the short end of the stick. Basically, while Rumble is dealing with lawsuits and a shrinking audience, they're focusing on keeping the big creators happy, and that means smaller creators end up getting a raw deal.
Okay, thank you, Jack.
You're welcome.
So you don't have to take it from me. That's the AI that pulls all of the files, everything that's posted out there publicly, and puts it all together. I do this every day. So I'm well aware of what Rumble is doing. In fact, I'm probably one of the creators that pays more attention to Rumble than anybody else. I don't know anybody else that's done 4 audits. 4 audits of Rumble. And I'm not talking 15-minute audit. Our audits are 12 hours long. And we do it over multiple channels, simultaneously, live on a spreadsheet, and we do it in 4K. So we can go back and prove everything I'm saying. In fact, it's been sent to Rumble, and what's Rumble response? Nothing. Silence. We've asked them. We've sent them the audits that we've done and said, look, we did this audit. This is what we found. Can you explain to us why your numbers are this, but what you report at the end is this? They've said nothing. Rumble will not respond to any of it. And I've got it all. They've got it all. But they don't want to deal with it. And we're seeing our numbers are going up and up and up and up and up every single month. But yet our pay is now about 17% of what it was 6 months ago. It's absolutely ludicrous how our pay can drop to almost nothing. In fact, there was a content creator on Rumble the other day who had 13,000 views. And do you know what Rumble paid him? It was like 58 cents. 58 cents, 63 cents. It was something absolutely ludicrous. For 13,000 views, they got less than $1. I calculated up what I make for a nightly news broadcast is about 7 cents. I spend 6 hours, and this platform pays me 7 cents. Creators are not going to stay on a platform where the management is fucking over the smaller creators. They have to treat the large creators the same as they treat the small creators. You can't say, I'm going to give all my money to the big guys and fuck the little guys, because that's what Rumble is doing, and Rumble will fail. Rumble will fail because of two things. One, their platform sucks. The fact that you can't stay on the stream, you go in, you get kicked off, your audio falls out, there's all kinds of problems. The notifications are 24 hours later. That's ludicrous. Anybody who subscribes to Rumble or follows somebody should be notified within seconds of the time that streamer goes live, not 24 to 48 hours after the stream. That's a big problem. So IT is an issue. The other is unfair treatment of their content creators. And that's why we here at KLW World News, we're going and looking at other platforms. Even though we have 17 channels on this platform, we're going elsewhere. It's not worth our time. What we make from Rumble won't pay our internet fee and our electric bill. There's no way to make money on this platform. So if you're a new creator coming to this platform, good luck. Because unless you're one of these big guys that sucks the cock of RT, or you were famous before, you're not going to survive on this platform. And if they continue to treat their creators the way they are now, this platform is not going to survive. So that's what I got to say about Rumble. Let's see if we have any other questions here in the chat. Where is the visible evidence that Russia has influenced? There's a federal indictment.
I'll answer that.
Yeah.
Watch the show that we did last week. I explained all of it.
Yeah, there's a federal indictment. I don't know what else you need. Go watch and
Federal
listen to what these.
indictment.
Go ahead.
Look at all the money. Look at all the online casinos. Look at all the money that they've spent on all of the monetizers, buying all them out, setting them all up. You know, follow the money. Look where it goes. Where's the visible evidence? It's all over the place.
And that is true. So, I think that is it. I don't see any other questions. No, not all countries do not spend money on ops. That's not true. The Russian influence is one of the largest influence organizations in the world.
That's their bread and butter. That's
Absolutely.
what they're good at.
Yep. So, all right, folks, I want to thank you for being here. Merry Christmas, and we will see you next week. Have a great Christmas, everybody.
That's all, folks.